Good morning. It's Friday, the 13th of February, 2015. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 133, if I'm counting correctly. My name is Chris, if I'm remembering correctly. And today, we're going to start with some heavy stuff, some big, really important stuff. I mean, it's just something we absolutely have to talk about. And then we'll kind of transition into some more interesting things that are a little bit lighter, and we'll end on some really good news. So to help me get through all of this is a specially trained strike team of internet pontificators. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Hello.
Greetings.
Hello, guys. Let's get pontificating. Let's start with President Obama, who is busy today. You know, we're here. It's a Friday. You know, a lot of people like to go slow on Friday. Not President Obama. Obama is heading to meet with a lot of tech heads. I'll give you more information about that in a minute, in Palo Alto, California today. And they're going to talk about cybersecurity issues and the threats that are imposed upon the United States by increasingly sophisticated hackers. So what they're one of the things that they're discussing there is what is expected to be a new executive order that President Obama will sign today on the sharing of cybersecurity threat information. We've talked about CISPA on this show before, and this is essentially an executive version of that. It's going to come from the White House, but because it's an executive order, it's going to be more advisory in nature. So it doesn't have the same bite as some actual legislation passed. But here's why it's going to work really well, because the CEOs of a lot of big companies are going to go in with this. A couple of CEOs that jump out at me that are not going in with this: Google and Facebook are not attending the summit. Nowhere done participating in this program. Let me tell you a little bit about this program. But Obama's executive order would put the Department of Homeland Security in charge of approving and making sure companies can access information sharing programs. It would also allow the National Cybersecurity and Communications Information Center to enter into agreements with organizations. I want to read that again. It will also allow the National Cybersecurity and Communications Information Center, i.e. the government, to enter into agreements with organizations which have yet to be developed. Companies, including the Cyber Threat Alliance and Entertainment Software Association, will announce that they will also be building programs on the parameters of this executive order. Another batch of companies have also announced today that they'll be incorporating the administration's cybersecurity framework, which we haven't even seen yet. It was created after a 2013 executive order, though, so they've had time to review it. The framework helps businesses decide how cybersecurity investments, ways to implement cybersecurity for new companies, and measures to take against other kinds of threats. Intel, Apple, Bank of America, they are going to use this framework, they've announced. They're also going to require all the vendors that work with them, Bank of America, Apple, you know, those are big right there, Intel. All the vendors that work with them will also have to use this cybersecurity framework that's going to be in this executive order. So the companies are sort of opting in. So even though it's not legislation passed down by the Congress, it is an opt-in program, and they are indeed opting in. So this is CISPA, but on your own terms a little more. I think it's kind of a remarkable turnaround after years and years and years of buildup towards, we need CISPA, we need this, we have to get this done, we have to do this. And now here we are today, Friday, February 13th, 2015, and with the stroke of a pen, Obama's going to accomplish most of this on his own. And mostly because the companies are just going to work with him. They're collaborating together, so that way they don't have to be told to do it. Not too uncommon to have that happen. Anybody want to comment on this so far?
This sounds kind of similar to the way the InfraGard system works, where people in key businesses are given access to information from the FBI and the CIA on potential threats or things they need to keep their eyes on. But it kind of, looking down the list of the companies who have jumped on board with it, it kind of makes me wonder why companies like Walgreens are involved in this.
Yeah, and QVC. I guess because they have online shopping presences. Like I guess every business has cybersecurity interests now. I don't know. It's weird.
What if Target and Home Depot had been a part of something like this? Would it have had any positive effect on what we saw happen to them?
No, I don't believe so. And here's why. Today, it is already bad practice to just leave a VPN connected to a third-party vendor that has full run of your network. That today is already a bad standard in practice. It's not something you would have set up already. And these these frameworks are not about legislating or controlling how you secure a network, because how could they? Not only does that change so fast, but it is so specific and dynamic between each individual corporate network, you could never have a federally mandated standard. It just wouldn't work. So they cannot actually legislate that aspect of it. They can't actually ever have any control over the one thing that matters, how you secure and set up the systems. That's all that matters in cybersecurity, is how well are the systems protected. Information sharing is great after you've already been owned. That's when you have to share information because everybody else is getting owned. Let's figure out how bad this is, and let's try to fix this as fast as possible. That's why information, and it also is very good to make sure that, hey, this is coming our way. Let's prepare our defenses. It's legitimate in that sense, but that's at the most what it's going to do. It cannot make sure that Target doesn't have a VPN back to an HVAC vendor. They can say don't do it, but they can still do it, and they did it. Right? There is already laws on the books for companies that have customer information that say don't do what they did. There's already laws, and they still did it, and they're not in trouble.
Well, maybe I'm stretching here, but could it get the suits actually a little bit more aware of the dangers if they're not already, and listening to their
I hope that
security
is true.
professionals?
I mean, I hope out of anything. I hope that is kind of what this does. But unfortunately, it's sort of pushing it more in the direction of what I see happening is it allows blame transference to the bureaucracy that is created. Well, we have this cybersecurity framework. Yes, the framework let us down and we weren't able to respond in time, and so your information was compromised. But we learn from every event, and the framework is still a good thing. We still need information sharing. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to we just didn't have that 0-day bug patched. And that is always what it's going to come down to. And there's nothing they're going to do. Because you know what you got to patch. You got to patch. And that's what this information security sharing thing can say, hey, there's a bug out there, better patch. That's pretty valuable, but I can do that with an RSS feed too.
Was there anything in there about doing standardization on penetration tests and security audits?
There's more from what now we don't get to see the details, but there does seem to be in the framework more like provisions on how to plan for security when you're rolling something out. There seems to be like things to think about at the inception of building your network. That there's more of that in there, which is helpful. But again, those practices will change so dramatically over time. Like you could have, if you think about it from a true security standpoint, it's a totally different set of security implementations for a container-based server, a virtualized server, and physical servers. Like just right there is different types of security models you have to employ and different types of logging you have to watch. And there's just no way that they could ever compensate for all of that. Just think about that. That's nuts. Also, businesses are going to announce secure payment programs at the conference that's happening today. MasterCard will put more than $20 million into new cybersecurity initiatives, and Visa will commit to tokenizing credit cards, and Square, along with Small Business Administration. Oh, I'm sorry, Square, this is a different sentence, I guess it's just a typo. And the Small Business Administration will work with small businesses to encourage them to use secure payment technologies. So the banks are in on this too. And in this event, it will include greater transparency pushes too, of course, when it comes to giving customers better access to their credit score. Yes. Anyways, that's our downer story for today. Just because I'm a little skeptical, and this goes outside the process. There is a process to go through for this kind of thing, and this is outside that process. All right, but speaking of going outside the process, Apple has sort of, depending if you subscribe to our Coda Radio theory, but the App Store has really done its part to drive down the value of software and just make it dirt cheap. Great for users, horrible for independent developers. And one of the ways the developers sort of overcame this was, well, let's just load up these apps with in-app purchases. Let's just get this stuff riddled with little nickel and dime things. Yeah, we'll give you a free app, sucker. You want to do anything cool, you got to buy it. And you know what? I fall for it. Yeah, I end up buying stuff. I do it. Not much, but just a couple of things here and there every now and then when I'm having fun. It's the worst. And so now it seems like maybe Apple is trying to push that trend back a little bit by promoting apps, in their words, great games with no in-app purchases. So they now have a new section in the Apple App Store. Now, you're like, Chris, why are you talking about this? Chris, why do you care about this? Chris, that's just the Apple App Store. That right there, when Apple features apps like that, that is, you can go look, there's a lot of developers that have blogged about this. That is a game changer. Like their sales charts, it's like a hockey stick. It just shoots way, way up. It puts them on the map. But also, it usually has set the precedent in the rest of the other app stores. And I think this would be a really interesting thing if we started to see more and more app stores. Maybe Amazon could be next. They started featuring apps that don't nickel and dime you. What a concept. What a concept. And they also have featured pay once and play. So you just buy it outright and you own the whole thing. That's my preferred model. I don't care if they want to charge. Just charge me once. I'll pay it if it's a good game. Part of the problem that's also encouraged this issue is that Apple doesn't allow demos. So you can't try it and then buy it. And I think if they allowed demos, people could charge more for apps. And I think it's kind of sad that, and the reason why this has happened is because obviously cheap apps sell more iPhones and iPads. And that's what matters to Apple. It's kind of sad. But I do like this. Maybe we'll see the trends change. Anyone want to bitch about in-app purchase before we move on? Any war stories? I have one, and it's really, really embarrassing. I don't think I'm going to tell it today.
I think you should tell it today.
I can't remember the price either. That's the other problem. But so when you do these in-app purchases, that leaves you authorized for a little bit, and then you could do another in-app purchase without having to re-enter your password. So my son was playing the new Plants vs. Zombies, I think it was, or I can't remember if it was that or Angry Birds when it came out, and he bought I got him a little satchel of coins so he could play with one of the guys he wanted to play or whatever it was. It was like a $4 thing, and I was like, fine, they got me $4, haha, that's fine. He's been playing this game for free for days, so here you can have my $4. The thing is you have to authorize that $4. And once you authorize that $4, you're kind of, I don't know at the time, I think it was like a 15-minute window. I don't know if they've changed it now. I think I was authorized for 15 minutes, and I think he bought like an $85 bag of coins. He went back in there, and he liked the bigger bag because it's got more coins, and he pushed that one, and I got an email like, what? So I went and turned off in-app purchases on all his apps, but there you go. That was my war story. It's kind of embarrassing. Oh, great. And Angela's listening. Oh, yeah. Thanks.
My
great.
cousin did that to me.
Angela, did I leave any details out? Great. See, no, I didn't know the wife was listening at home. I can't remind her of my mistakes like this because she never lets me live it down. What happened with your nephew?
My cousin did that to me once. What game was it? I think it was the same game. Oh, no, it was Cashflow Crashers. And then she went and bought like $50 of things. Thankfully, I was able to cancel it before it went through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think now people have told me I could have canceled it, but what I did is I just turned off in-app purchases, and then he just lived off that. So that was like, there you go, there's your stipend, kid. Enjoy. You can spend that stuff fast. You really can. Clash of Clans is another one. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. It seems like people can find a good balance. It seems like we're driving the price initially down to 0 and loading the app full of purchases, in-app purchases, or the initial price being so high that you don't have in-app purchases. So I wish we could find some sort of balance between the two.
Yeah, I actually think there is a little bit of a spot for in-app purchases when they're done really classy.
I agree.
Because you know what, I kind of like that model because it's kind of like a demo model. It's one binary. I download it, and so the one app, and I've talked about it before. Not going to surprise anybody who listens a lot, but I think Marco Arment's Overcast really nailed this. So Overcast is a really good podcast player, and it's only available for iOS. And one of the things that he does is it's free, but if you want certain things like cellular downloading or a couple of other nice to have features, it's a one-time like $4.99 purchase. And then you unlock everything for the lifetime of the app, and you just have it on every device. And it's a really nice model because there's no nagging at all. It's a very elegant. You go into the settings screen where it's at. It's very classy. It doesn't feel like an upsell at all. It feels like this is one person making a very, very good app, and he deserves $4 for this very good app. And the other thing he used to do, although Apple prevented him, is he would say, "Okay, you don't want to pay the $5? Well, here's 4 other really great podcast catchers. You can go grab those, and they're great." And he says, "I love these ones. You'll probably like them too." And I just thought, that is so classy. And if more people develop software like that, I think that would strike that balance. You can try it for free. Some of the better features that we spent a lot of time on, a lot of R&D on, to unlock those, that's where you pay the $4. And then you have them forever.
There's an Android app called Tasker that does the same thing, but they do it in a way that you get their app regularly, and there's no ads or anything. But if you want some extra features, there's like an unlocker secondary app that you go in the settings to upgrade, and it takes you to that place or to install another app that just unlocks all the features.
Oh, chat room Count Zero found it. It was Fosho. That's what it was. The Fosho 167 where I gave that full story. Fosho 167 in-app mayhem. That's
Chris, if
yeah.
I remember correctly, Plex, the Plex app does that too, where you gotta. I don't remember if it's just a one-time $5 payment or like a monthly payment.
Oh, Plex Pass?
Yeah, I haven't bought it yet, but I'm thinking about it because I'm tired of it cutting my shows off saying I need to purchase it.
Oh, I didn't know it did that. That's interesting. Huh.
I think there are definitely better ways to do this. I like options being given, and ultimately the market will sort of sort this stuff out. Who's doing it right? Who's doing it wrong?
Yeah.
The ratings and reviews will do it. But you need to either have a try before you buy or a pay up front with a window to refund.
Yep. And it's just going to take a while to shake out. And that's the reason why I kind of wanted to cover this story, because I feel like this is maybe a step in the right direction a little bit. It's to kind of remind developers a little bit that, there is a market out there for people who are getting really sick and tired of this. And that's what I think that feature will sort of demonstrate to the developers directly, where it matters, their wallet.
I just fear for the day when developers on the desktop think that, hey, in-app purchases are a great idea. We ought to start pushing that.
Oh, man, that's coming. That is coming. I mean, it is. I've seen a couple apps like that, but that's coming. You know it.
That's a good idea. I'm going to go to Sublime Text right now.
Well, and you could see the open source model, too, where you could have, sort of like Sublime. You could have, here's the core application's open source, and then we have a couple of proprietary bits we'll sell you for in-app purchases, and then they just download and set up, and now that application has them. Look at VirtualBox. You could see VirtualBox doing that. All open source and free, but you want some fancy 3D acceleration, or you want fancy remote desktop, those are in-app purchases.
Yeah, you want the guest editions, you have to pay for.
Yeah, you want the Windows guest editions, the Linux guest editions, $199 each. Or you can get a bundle. You get the bundle. Oh, jeez. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's happening. Hopefully, though, maybe this will nip that in the bud a little bit. Okay, so I saw that. I love this. When Linus Torvalds makes Google Plus posts, the whole world listens. And so Linus made a post on Google Plus, so now it's on Slashdot. Linus Torvalds made a post saying, hey, and he's actually talked about this before, and he says, I've made noises some time ago about I don't want to have another number system where the number's so big it's just ridiculous, like we got to with 2.6.39 of the Linux kernel. 2.6.39.39, right? So he's thinking now we're getting to 3.20 for the current kernel. It's imminent. And now I'm starting to run out of fingers and toes to count on, he says. So I'm thinking about maybe moving to 4.0. And he's put up a poll on G+. What do you guys think? Should we cut a 4.0 kernel just because the number's getting long, or should it have to wait for some amazing feature? It's pretty split right now. The votes, God, the Linux community is like this every frickin' time. Every time, you guys, you're always like this. I like big versions, and I cannot lie, is losing right now to, yes, let's go 4.0, because I get easily confused with 57% of the votes. I love that Linus is such a... I like big versions, and I cannot lie, and then the other option is version 4.0, because I get confused easily. So the people that want to go to 4.0 have to admit they're dopes. He's gotten 12,000 votes.
Wasn't the choice to go to 3.0 just arbitrary anyway?
Yeah, because the number was getting too high. Yeah. Traditionally, though, it's like feature driven.
Well, couldn't you argue that being able to patch a live kernel is kind of a big feature that they could use as their quote-unquote excuse to go to a new version number?
That is true. Yeah. And this is, I guess they don't have to worry about the marketing, right? But usually it's attached to a big feature because that's the big feature you advertise to push the sales. So I guess that's why they don't care, because you're going to use it regardless. It doesn't matter if they call it 10.0. We're going to use it, right? I don't know why they don't go to just 3.4. I know why they don't go to 3.3 because that's the development version, but why don't they go to 3.4? What am I missing? I don't know.
It's Linus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really care. I mean, for me, on a rolling distro, I just always just whatever. I don't even know what I'm on this one. Let's see on this computer right now. Let me pull it up a terminal. So this one's 3.18.6. I don't know, whatever. And let's see, the computer you guys are on, let me go check this one. Does it even matter? Let's see. Did you hear the mates? Oh, you guys don't get to hear it. I got mate sound effects going. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, mate sound effects. Oh, yeah. All right, so the mate machine here is on 3.13. So it's just getting to the point now where the kernel's just good enough. I don't even care. But it would be kind of fun from a news standpoint to have 4.0 ship. Hey, something else kind of neat from a news standpoint, the Galaxy 6, the new phone that we don't even know about yet, but everybody's been talking about, really excited. People are stoked about the new Galaxy 6 Samsung's about to announce. Going to be all metal, they say. Well, those of you who like your processors small It looks like the new Samsung Galaxy S6 will have the first 14-nanometer ARM processor in a cell phone, meaning that Samsung is beating both Apple and Intel to the market with a 14-nanometer system on a chip. It's the whole system on a chip. Of course, Apple is expected to use 14 nanometers in the next iPhone and iPads, probably in September, October, meaning that the Galaxy S6 will likely be the first device on the market with this phone. Now, why is that a big deal? Because it might not even be that much faster. But it turns out you're going to get a lot less heat, a lot less power usage, and they suspect a 20% faster graphics. So, overall, they say, you might notice it overall, once you factor in GPU and CPU, about a 24% performance increase. But the nice thing about that is you get that with a 35% less energy use. So you're going to have one of the fastest chips. Samsung's in the perfect market position to do this. You're going to have one of the fastest chips, and you're going to have 35% less energy usage. And I feel like the Android manufacturers are really starting with the latest phones, especially like with the OnePlus, to nail the battery life. They're nailing it. They're getting. I mean, they're beating Apple now. And if you could get 35% less power usage while bringing up on average overall about 20% of the improvement in performance, yeah, I'm starting to get a little excited about this phone now. I'm not even a big Samsung fan. I'm getting a little excited about this phone. I love the processor technology. I love watching this stuff all over again. We watched it. I watched it way back in the day. With 286s. And then 486s, which was fun. It was good. And then we got to the Pentiums, and it was every time. It was an amazing, I can't believe they've done it. I can't believe they've done it again. I mean, it's just, I don't mean to suck too much Intel D here, but I'm pretty impressed. And now to see Samsung do it all over again in the smartphone race, and to see Apple go at it too, it's really cool to watch this again. It's, I don't know, kind of geeky, I guess. All right.
Sounds exciting to me.
Good. How about a little good news? You guys want to end on some good news?
Sure.
Jonathan Thomas, the creator of the OpenShot project, had gone a little dark, and we weren't quite sure what was going on. Hadn't seen any updates. And the backers of his Kickstarter, he raised $45,000 when he had original goal of $20,000. The backers were getting a little concerned. I guess last night, was it, guys? Jonathan posted an update to the Kickstarter page, essentially saying he's been moving.
Today.
Oh, it was this morning? Oh, okay. Yeah. And so I haven't even read through it yet, but I will. And I'm going to also try to reach out to Jonathan, see if maybe he wants to come on Linux Action Show this weekend. I'm sure. So I would suspect he can't because he's moving. That's one of the reasons why he's been MIA. But we'll see. He says there are many challenges that are going along with building any software. Some are obvious and more subtle. However, the challenges I've recently realized aren't related to computers at all. Sometime in late October, my wife and I decided it'd be fun to put our house on the market and test the waters. We've been talking about moving out of Arlington, Texas, a relatively big city, for years and heading towards a bit more land and less city. As fate would have it, we had an offer on our house within 1 week, and all of a sudden we needed to find a house, make repairs, pack, rent, move a truck, or get the moving truck, etc., etc. Needless to say, it required a lot of time and energy, I would imagine. In a hastily quick move, I made the next crucial mistake. I failed to back up my primary development computer, which was damaged with all the chaos, of course. I'm usually pretty good about backing up my computers, but my development computer only holds a copy of my work, and then the source code is stored on other servers. Thus, no need to back up the computer, right? I'm now backing up my development computer, and next time this happens, and I'm sure it will, I'll be ready. Once I reset up my development computer with the latest versions of my operating system and updated libraries and packages, I realized some of the audio API methods I no longer used existed in FFmpeg or libav. Wow, that sucks. So I've spent a couple of weeks fixing all of these issues and bringing lib OpenShot compatible with the latest changes of FFmpeg, CMake, and ImageMagick. Yeah, so he's got to update what's coming next and stuff like that. I'll read through the rest of that over the weekend and talk about it more in last. Any thoughts, guys? Anybody else had a chance to sort of digest this?
Yeah,
I read through it, and it looks like it'll be pretty good. I like the animated GIF support.
Yes, that is neat. Yeah, that's going to be fun for all our Noah memes.
Yeah, it's the GIF support is interesting.
Yeah.
There's also going to be Qt5 support for it.
Yes.
He's moving to Python 3, so that's interesting too. So
doesn't that to you seem like a pretty huge change at this point?
Python 3, no. Qt5, maybe.
Oh, maybe I can ask him. We'll see.
It'll be nice that it'll be cross-platform, you know, same video editor over all platforms.
Mm-hmm. That's extremely valuable. Right now, the only real competent one I know that does it is Lightworks, and I don't prefer to use Lightworks. And it's a huge deal we've talked about it many times on last. One of the best ways to move somebody over to a Linux desktop is to start them with Firefox, LibreOffice, Pigeon, or whatever you want. The classic suite of open source software that's available for all platforms. And if OpenShot could be part of that, that's a huge deal, because then you could start on your existing Windows machines, start editing in OpenShot, and when it came time to upgrade those machines, you could move them over to an Ubuntu or Red Hat, whatever. You could, that's a big deal.
I actually moved somebody over. It took me about probably 2 to 3 years to convince them, because they were using Sony Vegas and they were using like just the basics and stuff. So OpenShot or Kdenlive was be plenty for them. And it took me a couple of years to explain, convince them to finally change. Then they did. They're using both OpenShot and Kdenlive, and they have no problems.
All right, one last thing before we run. The TechSnap t-shirt's going for a few more days. We've sold 151. It'll be available until the 24th of February, so 11 days, 10 hours, 32 minutes, and 42 seconds. We've got available in white and gray. We have a t-shirt. We also have the hoodie, which I think I'm gonna get one. I was on the fence on the hoodie because I got a few of them, but every time we do this, it gets better and better and better. And that logo is so slick. That new TechSnap 200 logo is sharp, and I want to see it on a hoodie. So I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a gray hoodie, and I'm gonna get some long sleeve shirts up in this business, and maybe a t-shirt. I love the gray. I love these long sleeve shirts. I love the cut of them. Super comfortable. Great materials. Hold up after washing. Logos don't fade. It's really a good system. Go over to teespring.com/TechSnap if you want to grab the TechSnap 200 logo. It's the only place we have it right now. Over the next few weeks, I'll be updating our motion graphics and our art assets and things like that. And then you'll start to see the new logo roll out. But right now, that's the only place you're going to see it. And we're really excited. We worked with a lot of designers. We narrowed it down from a lot of choices. We had Q5sys and Rotten Corpse help eliminate a few that we didn't like so much. And we had voting rounds. I mean, it's a process. And so the way we kind of celebrate that is once we finally work through that internally, we celebrate by putting it up on a shirt. Teespring.com/TechSnap. 11 days left. It's pretty cool. 200 episodes of TechSnap's kind of awesome. Okay. I think we're going to wrap up. And I love this commercial. I think it was Imacon found this commercial, right, in the chat room? I think so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Imacon. And he found it this morning. It is. I don't even want to. It's so great. Maybe because I was a child of the 90s. I don't know. 80s and 90s, I guess. I just love it. So it's very corny. And it's the new world we live in once technology connects us all. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave it at that. So guess what? That's it for this week. Go over to Reddit and help make the show a little better. You can submit stories, feedback, Kickstarters, techtalktoday.reddit.com. You know what else, though? Because none of you jerks are really doing that except for like 4 of you, which is kind of pathetic. I mean, I'm just kidding. I understand you're busy. It's a daily show. I'm totally joking. But I am trying to get your button gear a little bit to maybe tweet some stories at me. I'll take it from that, too. If you want to tweet at Chris LAS a link to something, maybe a quick little description of why you like it or what you think's if you could one-line it for me. Because if a few people do this, I'll need a reason to click it. And see if maybe that's a way to submit stories to the show. Tweet them at me, Chris LAS, or submit them to that subreddit. And don't forget, you can also email the show. Go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/contact. And then Tech Talk Today is live, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, Tuesday through Friday, jblive.tv. Go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar. And then you get it in your local time zone. And with that, I'll leave you with a blast from my past and maybe yours. Thanks for joining me, guys. See you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
I'll see ya.